My name's Paul Sinclair, and I'd like to introduce you today to a series of videos highlighting my research into unexplained phenomena around East and North Yorkshire. If you like what you see, please subscribe to this YouTube channel or find our Truth Proof page on Facebook. Today we're at Bempton and we're going to talk with David Hinde, and he's going to tell us about a UFO sighting that he had back in 2007. I think David's got the exact date. I haven't got it off the top of my head. And who better to tell us than David in his own words, really? If you could please, David.
Yes, well, Paul, it was back in the first week in March 2007. I was travelling back from Moulton and Norton Amateur Operatic Society rehearsals, and I'd been travelling on the road for about 45 minutes back from Moulton. Came to the Dotterell pub before the bypass was built, and across the junction, looking over towards the distance towards the Honeypot Inn, I saw these two red-orange, the brightest red-orange orbs I've ever seen. Well, the brightest red-orange lights I've ever seen.
So the intensity.
And their intensity, yes, was tremendous. And I looked at, what the heck are those? And so I wound the window down. There was no other traffic on the road, either coming towards me or along the main road. I crossed the junction and went down this road about 10 miles an hour with my window down, obviously watching for these orbs. Yeah. And they were moving independently of each other. They were high up in the sky above the Honeypot Inn, but you could see that they were close enough to be almost, it looked as if they were interacting, but doing their own thing, if you like. Yes.
Well, they were all part of the same movement, weren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. And I thought, what on earth are these? And I drove a bit further on, and there was to find somewhere on that road, there was only a few spaces where you could safely pull off. So I pulled off the road and I'd turned the front of the car, so I was looking through the main windscreen towards the direction of where these lights were. And I watched these for about 15-20 minutes till in the end it was about 5 past 11, because it was quarter to 11 when I first started watching these things.
It weren't a flashing pan sighting, it was a lengthy sighting, really.
Lengthy sighting, yeah. And
these
I watched them
hung around
for a while. I'd turn my engine off, I'd turn my lights off, etc. And it got to 5 past 11, and I thought, my partner's going to wonder where I am. Hope he's okay. Yeah. So I thought, I'm going to have to go soon. So I turned they weren't doing anything other than this movement, slow movement, independently of each other.
Were they moving backwards and forwards, or passing each other?
No, they were separate.
Yeah.
Either, one was left and one was right of each other, but one was going that way, one was going and then slightly down.
So, I mean, obviously, weather conditions that night were pretty still and clear.
Very still and clear. Yeah.
But even if there'd have been a wind, these things were moving in opposite directions to each other. It rules out Chinese lanterns.
Absolutely. No. It certainly wasn't anything like a lantern. It was a very, very deep red, intense, and it was there for that length of time. Then I switched back on the headlights and the engine to set off back to Bempton, and found that these things were
just switched off.
Just switched off and disappeared.
So do you think?
I went, wow.
Do you think there was some kind of? They reacted to the headlights.
I think there's a possibility that that's what happened, because otherwise, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
And then I sat there for a few minutes, and they came back on again. They appeared again, and again I watched them for about another 5-10 minutes, still doing the same sorts of manoeuvres, and thought I better get back. And I drove back. And I told my partner, I says, I've just seen 2 UFOs, and I think. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it on this road or this area before. And we laughed about it, quite honestly, because she said, oh, go on, Dave, go on. And I says, yeah, it's true, I've seen this, So, it was after that I started to take a real interest in what these things could have been. Yeah. And it was only when we went to a pub on the Sunday, following this midweek sighting I'd had, that we looked in the press for Scarborough. My partner was looking at property, actually, and she's looking through the paper, and suddenly she said, look at this, Dave. There's a report here of a young lad from between Hindewell and Staithes, seeing a red-orange craft-like thing hovering over this field.
Which is just literally up the coast.
Just up the coast. The night before I saw mine.
Yeah.
And so, you know, she said it could have been the same thing that he's seen.
It's a massive coincidence.
It's a massive coincidence. So then I contacted the press and they ran a story on it. The following week, loads of people said they'd seen the same night up to 4 of these lights.
Right.
Red-orange lights from Sewerby through to Bridlington to this side. And
so we've got multiple witnesses backing
what I've seen and the same type of thing I'd seen.
Granted, we don't know what they were, but we know what they weren't, and they definitely weren't Chinese lanterns or some kind of plausible explanation.
No, and the same with the other people. They had the same reaction. Wow, what's that?
Did you put your car window down?
I put my car window down to see the.
And what did you hear?
And there's nothing, no sound at all. So there's no engines, no flare type noises or anything like that. It was, and these things are moving about.
When you were obviously it's pitch black. It's turned 11 o'clock at night. When you're observing these lights, you're saying how intense they were.
Yeah, very intense. Did
they illuminate the sky as well?
Immediately round themselves, I would say that they did. Immediately round themselves, but not
a massive. Didn't encompass a massive area of sky with the brightness of them, which is we find that unusual with the lights that are seen over the sea. As you know, we've been looking into these lights. It's interesting, David. Very. No, is there anything else that you can add to that, do you think? I mean, you've covered the newspapers.
Only that then I started looking into what was happening with your own sightings in the area, and so I contacted you at the time with the ILF website and said, this is what I've seen, Paul. And you said, well, you know, tell me more about it, David, and hence you logged it. And
we've sort of rolled from there.
Then subsequently, obviously, I went to have a look on the wells with you at some of the sightings that you've been seeing near the Cotton Crossroads.
Yeah.
And we saw again one of those on at least one of those occasions that we went. And, I was able to say that's what I saw, Paul.
Well, just before we end this, David, I don't know if you can recall, because I've never written about it, but you were travelling back again and you saw something over the base only probably 18 months ago, would it be? Or
18 months, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. And again, it was this time it was a much bigger
light. I remember you saying
light,
huge.
Very wide, huge light, reddy orange over that area. And again, we obviously Anne said as well.
Witness to this, Anne.
She said, what do you think that is, Dave? And I went, well, I think it's one of those. I'll tell Paul.
How high up was it from the base, do you think?
It was quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
I mean, when
it wasn't just hovering over the buildings. It was.
That's what I'm saying. When listeners we talk about the RAF base, we need to stress that it's defunct and it's just skeletal remains.
Yes.
There's nobody working there or anything.
No.
Well, another interesting sighting. That'd be 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be 2 years ago, and we were coming back down the same direction of the road, of course, before the hedges were a little bit lower than they are now, so you could see right over that side as you were coming down the hill.
And you can't see the sea from that height. You don't think it was a boat on the horizon?
No. It's the same with the sighting I had in March 2007. I use this road a lot because really to get anywhere, you go that way or you go into Bridlington.
Yeah.
It's one of the main approaches to get home and back, etc. So you're used to seeing the conditions and what
aerial activity,
etc.
And this is different to anything else.
Very different, both occasions.
Well, David, thank you very much. Thank you.
Please subscribe to this channel by clicking the icon. Click on the notification bell to get notification of future videos.